That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, the fourth film directed by Wes Ball, which is also the 10th overall film in the Planet of the Apes franchise, and the fourth in the new reboot of the franchise that started on spooling in 2011. It is being released courtesy of 20th Century Studios on May 10th, 2024.
Do I know another Wes Ball movie?
No, his previous three were the Maze Runner trilogy films, which I've seen 2 of.
What is this film about? Many years after the reign of Caesar, a young ape goes on a journey that will lead him to question everything he's been taught about the past and make choices that will define a future for apes and humans alike. That sounds more profound than it is. What's your pull quote?
What it lacks in narrative finesse, it more than makes up for in its impressive simian characterizations.
Oh, mine's very similar. Fantastic visual effects and compelling characterizations make this sometimes fuzzy narrative a joy to behold. I did really like this movie.
I did too. I mean, you find yourself getting emotionally invested in these primates.
In these digital apes, yeah.
I mean, the mocap, it looks really good.
This movie looks fantastic, yeah. The story's, it's... The human element of it, I think, is pretty weak.
Because humans that live under these conditions wouldn't look like that.
Or that. And the story is, so because of that, I feel like the story is more complicated than it should be. So there was an ape named Caesar who we got to know from the James Franco film.
He was in the past 3, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and War of the Planet of the Apes.
So we're told in the very beginning of the film that humans developed a virus. And I don't know why they would make a virus like this, but it made humans stupid and made apes smart.
Basically, yeah.
And so that's how apes sort of rose above humans.
A reversal of fortune.
And we know that Caesar was kind of like the early leader of the apes when they started to take control. And it would seem that Caesar was more...
diplomatic.
And more about like unity, even though the tables had turned.
Yes. In Dawn and especially War of the Planet of the Apes, there's a lot more contention between Caesar and the humans, but yeah.
So in this film, we focus on a clan of apes that, like, they're the eagle clan. Mm-hmm. And they raise eagles, like that's their thing.
They say they're eagles. Those look like hawks.
Oh, I thought they looked like eagles to me, but... The one we focus on is one named Noah. Mm-hmm. And Noah's clan gets attacked and taken captive by this ape named Proximus, who considers himself the new Caesar. Mm-hmm. Why does he take them? He's trying to build basically he's taking slaves to try to open up a silo. So we learned that when humans first realized that they were in trouble, they started building these silos to get away from the virus and I guess the apes. And so these silos have a bunch of technology and resources, weapons, ... And Proximus, the new Caesar, he wants to get in there because he gives I thought it was a really good scene where he explains, like, he understands what evolution means. Mm-hmm. And he knows that it takes many generations, but he doesn't have that kind of time. So if he can get into that silo, he thinks he can expedite the process. This is where I get a little confused because he seeks out a human in particular named May, mm-hmm. who he knows how to get into the silo. But May has been following Noah. Like, before Noah's clan gets attacked by Proximus, we see that she's following him around. And we understand that she thinks that Noah would be able to help her get in there.
That's all very sketchy.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Noah meets a friend named Raka, who we will get into because Raka was my favorite character. Mm-hmm. But Noah and Raka, this gay orangutan, take May, who they name Nova, because they think she's like a stupid human, so they're treating her like a pet. They agree to bring her along because they feel sorry for her. They end up getting captured by Proximus. And Raka dies, or goes missing. So now it's just Noah and May who go to the site of the silo to be enslaved, to try to open it. But that's where May reveals to Noah, like, I know what's in the silo, and you need to help me get in there, because if Proximus gets it, it's going to be bad for everyone, humans and apes. And Noah agrees under one condition, because he's like, you have to tell me the truth, what's in there. And she's like, there basically are things that Proximus could use to hurt us, but what I need is a book. And because Noah doesn't understand electronics, she explains to him that it's like a special book, but really it's like an external hard drive. So they agree to go in there, but Noah agrees to help her get in there, but he says we have to destroy everything else. So she's like, okay, fine. She gets her external hard drive. He destroys the silo by flooding it, which we need to talk about. But of course, there's a final showdown between them, the apes who have been captured, and Proximus the king. And thankfully, Noah has his eagles trained, because the eagles help kill Proximus.
There's some subplots going on about the
we can talk
eagles
about
as well.
it. But Noah's able to get his clan to a new area where they can rebuild, so all's well that ends well. And then we see May take her external hard drive, which we find out is a decryption key, to a different silo where there are humans working electronics. And we realize that they needed that key to access satellites. And we find out that there are other silos with humans who I guess aren't stupid. And I'm assuming the next movie might be about them getting together. And then there'll be another rise of the humans.
Yeah, probably. It'll go on. It's the song that never ends.
Yeah.
The joke about calling her Nova, I think, harkens back to the original Planet of the Apes. I think that's a nod to that.
So I'm just going to go through my notes. We don't know what time period we're in. I would assume from the technology we see at the end of the film that it was like modern era when the apes took over. And then we're told that from the point where that happened, many generations have passed. So I was very confused about humans and how we have humans who were able to persist for that long and still seem to be like not worse for wear. Because all the humans we see at the end, including May throughout the film, they look quite good.
They look very good. Like great skin and hair care.
And teeth, yeah. But so I'm confused by that. I'm confused again with why May was following Noah, because the opening of the film is, I guess all the apes in the Eagle clan, they have to go through like a rite of passage to adulthood, where they have to basically like steal.
They pilfer an egg
To then raise it, which I find ironic because it's like they're stealing these eggs from the mom, like the mama bird.
But they're always like, always leave one, never take
But then
all
they're
her eggs.
respectful, and then they hold these eagles captive, but then they seem to love them, of course. But it's during that opening sequence, which I thought was pretty thrilling, that we see that there's a human following them, which turns out to be May. And then we see her again a few times before the clan is attacked. But again, I don't know why she thought...
She says that her clan was murdered by Silva, who the big gorilla that works for Proximus. So it's made to seem that she thought she could help Noah and she needed assistance.
So maybe Silva witnessed them being more advanced. Because May doesn't speak, so that's why Noah and Raka think she's dumb, like a normal human. But she says she learned how to stay silent because that's what kept her safe. Assuming that if apes knew she could speak, they would hurt her. So maybe that's how Proximus knew to find her. Okay, I'm nominating some worst hair in this film because the female chimpanzees who are part of the Eagle clan,
They give them like a hair part.
they give them this weird like 90s boy band part that I thought looked so ridiculous, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because even you noticed it.
Yeah. Well, his mama, Noah's mama,
And then his little homegirl.
Soona.
They have that hairdo, hair don't. And it was so bad that I giggled while I was watching it. And immediately when I got to my phone, I Googled female chimpanzees to see if their hair is different. And it doesn't appear that it is. So this was a choice.
It was a choice. I did think Soona looked like Ben Stiller to me.
Oh, well, let's go there. So I looked up the actor playing Noah.
Owen Teague from the It films.
Oh, I didn't recognize him except that I thought he looked like his monkey.
He did, yeah.
And then, oh my God, there's a monkey named Anaya, who I thought was a girl monkey, but it's a boy monkey apparently. And that chimpanzee looks crazy as hell. It looks like someone broke it. Like if it were a puppet, they broke it and tried to glue it back together.
Oh.
It's all crooked and crazy. And then I looked up that actor.
Jeffery.
And he kind of is giving me, he's a handsome young man, but he also has kind of a crooked face.
Oh.
So I thought that was funny. So we find out that the Eagle Clan calls humans echoes. Mm-hmm. Do you have a thought on why?
No. But also it's clear that the Eagle Clan has chosen. It's almost like they're like the white people in the village.
Yes.
They have chosen to put themselves in a bubble. They've created their own laws and limited history, and that's just it. They didn't want to know anything else about anybody else.
So that's a good point, because that also confused me as to the relationship of humans to apes, because they seem to be perfectly safe in their little haven. Mm-hmm. So I don't understand the relationship. Like, so are the humans who are smarter just hiding out? But then what about the like regular dumb humans? Because we do see at a point they come upon some zebras, and we see that there are humans sort of like safely drinking water with the zebras. Like the zebras are used to these other dumb animals. And yeah, so I didn't quite understand also like, is this affecting, because it seems like they might be in Southern California. Mm-hmm. So, but then at the end we realize that there's another silo with humans communicating via satellite, and I think they're in like Iowa or Idaho, Indiana. So they're far enough away. So still, I was confused. Like, are there other apes like Proximus trying to like take control
of things? I'm sure there's pockets of.
Which would make sense because they're acting like humans.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and Proximus is basically doing what we see in Apocalypto, is just scooping up all these other tribes for slave labor.
Oh, Marlon Brando's. Oh, you're talking about Apocalypto. I was thinking of Marlon Brando and Apocalypse Now.
Well, that's similar too. It's a conglomeration of all kinds of different people that he's lording over.
Okay, my favorite character. After Noah's clan gets taken by Proximus and they burn down his home, he leaves, and just like the village, they were never really allowed to leave their little area. But he wants to find his clan, so he gets on a horse and starts riding into the city. Which again, based on where they end up, which is like something called the Coronado Complex, and they're by the water, so I'm assuming they're near San Diego. He walks into like a downtown area on his horse, and he finds this orangutan named Raka, mm-hmm. and I assumed Raka was gay because he's talking about his like partner who he says was his life, and then he says like it's a him, and also he's very cultured. He was very like the cultural attaché to Greece to me. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
The other primate he's referencing is actively on fire on a funeral pyre.
Well, that's how they honor the dead.
It opens with Caesar's funeral pyre.
Yeah. So I would love to know if other people read Raka as gay, but I just thought that the VFX work, the voice acting, the writing of that character is so good, mm-hmm. because all of the comedic moments are with Raka. Yeah. And he's just so sweet. And he's very peaceful, because Raka's, he says he's like an original, because people have taken Caesar's like dogma and like sort of split it, like perverted it,
kind of like with Jesus.
Yeah. So Raka's part of the like more peaceful group who are like, oh, we should all get along. But then someone like Proximus is.
Well, this is what Caesar really stood for, versus these people that have kind of perverted his image and use him to commit acts of violence.
Yes, but he's just such a sweet character. The first time he sees zebras, he's like, oh, horses with stripes. That's interesting. He's very loquacious. Mm-hmm. And then the first time they hear May speak, because they're like, going along like the Three Musketeers, and Noah and Raka are talking about May, the dumb human, who they've named Nova at that point. And they're just talking about her right in front of her like she doesn't know. And finally, she goes, I have a name. It's May. And the look on Raka's face, like he drops whatever he's holding, I thought that was the cutest thing ever.
But it's at that point where I think we start feeling actively suspicious about May as well.
Yes, which is, I didn't care. It was very effective. And I think deliberate.
I think that Freya Allan plays May, and I liked her presence. I just felt like she looked too polished though, and I felt like if she looked a little more rough around the edges.
I agree, but I think the characterization was effective in that I didn't trust her until the end, which we'll get to. But when they get kidnapped, well, there's a really good action sequence where the three of them, Raka, May, and Noah, are trying to cross a bridge. But as the audience, we can see it's a booby trap. And it's Proximus's people with that scary-ass gorilla. And Raka ends up getting swept away at sea. Mm-hmm. And we can presume killed. But that's when Noah and May are taken to the Coronado complex to work as slaves, basically.
Where he's reunited with the surviving clan, including his mom.
But the nice thing about it is, like you said, Noah's reunited with some of his clan. His dad ended up getting killed early in the film by the gorilla.
Clubbed to death right in front of him.
I know, that was sad. But at the complex, there's another human who's smart, played by William H. Macy.
Mm-hmm. Trevathan?
He had a weird name, yeah. And he is solely there to read stories to Proximus.
In particular, they seem to want to know about Roman history, which makes sense for how Silva acts.
Yeah,
I think.
Actually. Mm-hmm. And also it seems like Proximus wants to hear funny tales. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was humorous. Proximus, so Silva, the gorilla, that characterization and the visuals were very effective. He was very scary, especially the final action scene where he's fighting Noah and Silva dies. But Proximus, that was a very good characterization because it's very clear that he's like the alpha and he's creepy. And also comparing him to that shitty ass Kong versus Godzilla, because there's that King, like the villain of that movie is also like a big chimpanzee looking thing. And that one was just like so raggedy to me. But in this movie, Proximus is so effective because he's very smart, but he's like an imposing figure against the humans.
He's smart, but he's very manipulative.
Yes, and it's like he's not a monster. He's nice. Like he's not. He like clearly he's enslaved these other apes, but he's saying things like, "We need to get in there so we can all rise up." But he's almost like an evangelist, like a trickster.
Yep.
And even when May and Noah are kind of pushing up against him, like not agreeing with him, he doesn't get violent with them. Like you said, he's very manipulative, and I thought that was very well done.
And that is Kevin Durand.
Yes, who we reviewed in
Abigail.
Yeah, I thought that characterization was excellent. I couldn't help thinking, what does everyone smell like? Because
so
the apes have bad teeth, and they're all up in everyone's face talking.
The Eagle Clan have these, because these birds have to land on their arms
like falcons,
so they don't rip them apart. So they have all these. They constantly have these bands attached. Like those,
they stink.
Those must. Stink.
And then when the apes are talking to like May, because I'm sure she stinks too.
Probably.
But it's like I was very concerned about that. But when May and Noah are trying to enact their plan to destroy, like they're setting up bombs to flood the complex, William H. Macy comes out. And his character is basically like he's trying to be like, girl, we have it good here. Like, just be grateful that you have a nice place to stay. Like, don't ruin it for us. And she kills him.
He's a sellout. But if she doesn't kill him, it compromises their mission.
Well, I don't know if I think he's a sellout, because I kind of feel like at this point, like, if I were him, I might also feel like, our days are numbered as being the superior species. So maybe I should just go with the flow. And if they like me and I have a nice place to live, I could see how someone like a character like that would be like, girl, let's.
I think the film is in spirit with the other films of the franchise in kind of trying to dig into what really amounts to being a race traitor, right? Like, if you're siding with the primates, helping them, or the whole third, or not the whole third act, but a major part of the third act is Noah being accused of helping a human, and he's a traitor.
Our battery is going to die. But my final thought was when May returns to go see Noah at his new location, and she brings a gun with her. What do you think she was planning on doing? Because she had no business even going to see him.
I think she's not sure how to feel. And it ends with kind of a teary exchange between both of them.
Because Noah's kind to her.
And he asked her, can humans and apes live together? And she's like, I don't know.
But she puts the gun away, and then he gives her like a gift that Raka had given him.
Which is why I like her characterization, because she is a survivor, and she can't trust him, perhaps.
Yeah, but very well done. For the most part, what would you give Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes?
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Of all the franchises out there, I'm kind of entertained by this. It was written by Josh Friedman, who also is a writer on Avatar: The Way of Water. But I would give it 3.5.
I would give this film 3.5 out of 5 as well. Join us on Patreon and listen to our podcast. Bye.